What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Two Worlds Podcast. I'm Jake, and with me, as always, is the Swamp Thing to my Poison Ivy. It's Casey. What's up, buddy?
I'm nothing, man. What's up with you?
I uh, I don't know. I'm all right. Trying
Yeah,
to figure out how we're going to go past 20 minutes on this episode.
right. I just noticed that since my thing updated, it didn't do the normal pop-up with the Zoom being recorded, where I can normally click no
Oh,
on
really?
accident. Yeah, it did like it did a little pop-up at the top of the screen. I was like, "Oh, it's recording."
Huh. Well,
And then now it's got reactions. I'm gonna rockets.
oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So boy, you guys are missing out if
Yeah,
you are
hope you're
not.
watching.
Oh, raise hand?
Yes,
Excuse
Casey?
me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. What like how was the shop this week? And
Shop was good, man. Shop was
yeah.
good. I actually have a couple of stories from the
Yeah.
shop.
Oh, I saw that you had some car trouble.
That was Mike, actually.
That fucking goose.
I know. I know.
Always talking about how reliable the Prius is.
Oh, he doesn't drive that anymore.
That's the problem, I guess. It was too
Yeah.
reliable. It's like you
Yep.
fucked me over. I'm just gonna cut your brakes or whatever. I don't know what the
Yep.
Prius did to his other car.
I don't know. Now he drives a Jeep. So,
Okay, as someone that owned a Jeep and loved his Jeep and misses it dearly, that's where he fucked up.
yeah. Well, it wasn't even a Jeep like yours. It was, I
Yeah.
don't know, whatever they call them. A Jeep. I like a
Cherokee.
Grand Cherokee. Maybe a Cherokee. I don't
Those
know.
are though, I mean, those are damn good cars too, though.
Yeah. I like
But
the color on his. It's like a deep green. It's a good color.
nice, nice.
Anyway, so two stories from the shop. One was actually supposed to be on last week's episode, and I forgot because I didn't write it down. So,
All right.
uh, I'll do the less fun one first. Um, so I walked in on Tuesday, and there was a note from my Sunday helper for a new pull list. So it was his name, his number, the books that he pulled, and then a quote. Make sure there's no spine damage. And boy, Casey, nothing makes me want to fold that guy's books in half right in front of him more than, oh, and can you make sure there's no spine damage? That doesn't need to be a note.
Maybe he
Never
was just
once am I ever purposefully giving anyone a book that's damaged.
maybe he's just like, I just don't want the person handling my comics to have any spine damage. Like if they're on those little like the walker things, or like if you're putting the comics away like that, and they're like, I don't want to deal with that. Takes too long, and I feel very awkward. So make sure the person handling my comics, their spine is intact.
Yeah, well, that's also not a good way to be.
I mean, it's true. It's a type of it's a whatchamacallit. Blanking on the word. I'm having one of those moments.
It's like ableist or something like that.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. But yeah, he was just like, yeah, I'm just kind of weird like that. Oh, you're quirky like that. You like your books pristine. Shut the fuck up.
It'd be really funny if like the next person's like, make sure there's a little bit of spine damage. Not too much, but I want
Yeah,
to
you don't want to break color, but it's
yeah,
okay
but
if there's like a little tick here or
like I
there.
want a little bit because it's like, I want to know it's been around the block, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I don't, but totally. So anyway, that's just super annoying. The people that do that are douchebags. So
He's
moving
listening
right
to this
along.
right now and just
No, he's not.
bending his comics. Like, "Ah!" I was so mad. And then he's upset that he did that and he's gonna call you for a fresh copy.
Well, as long as he has to buy it twice,
Yeah.
whatever. This other one was just plain ridiculous. I had a lady, she dropped off some comics for me to look at. Um, Left them with me because I was busy, didn't have time. And she's like, I don't know if you'll be interested in these. Just look at them and let me know if you want any of them. And really I didn't. There were a couple like maybe late 80s Marvel books that were okay, but it was mostly either 90s stuff or the 80s stuff was uh like Casper and Hot Stuff and stuff like that, which I just don't typically sell. So anyway, um there weren't that many of them. I looked through them all and I was like, I guess I could probably do like $30 on these books. Most of them are going right to the dollar bin anyways. Um, so I called her up and I left the message, gave her the offer, explained why, told her that really there was nothing of value in there. So she comes back in. She's like, I'll just take them back. If it's only $30, that's fine. It's like, okay, no problem. I gave them back. She's like, yeah, I guess I'll just take them home and throw them in the fireplace. I was just like, okay,
Like heating is really expensive right now, so I get it.
yeah. She's like, the kids won't know the difference anyways. I'll just burn them. And I'm thinking, you could have made $30.
Yeah,
I don't know if she was trying to get him to be like, no, wait,
right.
but there really wasn't anything in there. So I was like, okay, have fun burning them
Yeah.
later. People are silly, man.
What a weirdo.
Yeah. It's like, dude, if they're that meaningless to you, find some other kids to give them to. Maybe someone
Right,
else will enjoy them.
right.
I don't know. It's people get all sorts of butt hurt if I don't want to buy their bullshit.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just hadn't had a silly
Any
story in a while,
yeah,
and
any
got
weirdos
two.
in.
Yeah, got
Now
two back to back.
now did you have a good Halloween?
I did, yeah. Did you?
I mean, I worked, so you
Yeah.
know,
Did
but
did you get all the rain that we've been getting? Is that
that's
why
what
you were early today?
yeah, that's what it was today. So
I figured.
yeah, we're like so close to being done too. Like we can see the end, and now it's like, guess what? This rain we haven't gotten in the past 3 months, you're getting it all now.
Yeah. Well, I'll say you must be making good progress, man, because some years I feel like we have to have late sessions for like a couple
Yeah.
months.
Yeah.
So
No.
you're blazing.
Yeah. Well, because it's been perfect weather. It's been, I mean, super fucking dry, but perfect as
Mm-hmm.
far as getting stuff done. And if Dad hadn't broken down, like we kept teasing the repairman because, like I told you about how much he spent, and we broke down and then got it fixed. And then the next day, the guy that came out John Deere did something wrong and he didn't get the bolts in good, and so that messed up. And so we had to call John Deere again. But then Dad called Jarrett, who is the one that did the look over and stuff, and he's a really good mechanic. So we're like, yeah, I want Jarrett to do this. So Jarrett came out and he fixed it, and we were giving him shit. We're like, man, if only we had someone come out and look it over beforehand. He's like, yeah, that mechanic that you had must have been garbage. And then the other day we were finishing up my 50, and Dad's like, go out and listen while I'm dumping and see if you can hear a noise. And there's a bearing out on the combine that as you dump, I'm like, he's like, oh shit. And so we had to get John Deere to come out for that too and fix that because you have to have a special tool to get up in there and
Of
everything.
course you do. Why
Yeah.
wouldn't you?
Yeah. So that was a whole thing. And that ended us for the rest of that day. So it's just kind of like, if we hadn't had those three breakdowns, we'd probably be done or like way, like really close.
But from what I know from friends and family that farm, that's kind of the motto, or just, whatever of farming, right? Well, if
Yeah.
only this wouldn't have happened, but
Oh
it
yeah.
always happens.
Yeah. How's your uncle doing on his stuff? Because this would probably be the perfect year for him, since he's so damn wet.
Uh, Honestly, I don't know. I know that they're still in the field. I just
Yeah.
don't know what their progress is. So,
Because yeah, I remember when he helped us, he was talking about how wet his area is. So I'm like,
hmm
this had to have been just a godsend for him this year.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't know. I feel like his neck of the woods is always underwater or some crazy
Yeah.
shit like that. So, but all right. We did have comment from Gerbla, and this is in regards to our vampire movie Fantastic Four. He said, "Well, you guys said Dusk Till Dawn, Blade, and Renfield. So my other Fantastic Four would be Nosferatu. It's a little slow during the montage, but Max Schreck is terrifying every time he's on screen. Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's dated and weird, but it is a classic. John Carpenter's Vampires. It's silly, but it's fun. And Atomic Age Vampire. It's barely a vampire movie, but it has vampire in the title, and it was a neat idea. So I definitely have not seen any of those, if I'm being totally honest.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen any of them. I've heard of the first two, but then
Hmm.
the back half, I think he's talked to me about the John Carpenter one before because he's a big Carpenter fan, which fair enough, he's awesome.
Yeah,
But the other one I have no clue on.
yeah, same. I'd never heard of it either. But uh, now that it's after Halloween, I picked up a copy of Dracula and Frankenstein because I'm like, these are two classics I should probably actually read the novel of.
Yeah,
Um, and Frankenstein's tiny, like super tiny. That's going to be a very quick read. Dracula is
yeah,
maybe like 300 pages or so, which isn't too bad. Um, but flipping through it, it looks like it reads like a journal, like it's just journal entries.
yeah.
So I don't know about that one.
I remember trying to read that in I think seventh grade, and I was like, this is too dense for me. I'm gonna go back to Hank the Cowdog.
Fair enough. You made the right choice. Hank, I remember Hank having some spookier stories or just some weird stuff happening that
Yeah.
as a small lad, I was like, "Ooh, what's going on here?"
Oh man, that reminds me. Remember Rip and Snort? I think that was their names, the coyotes.
Yeah.
I've seen so many coyotes this year because they'll like, while Dad's picking and I'm in the auger cart, the coyote will kind of stand on the edge of the field or like wherever we're like he'll be like one row over and he'll just be watching, waiting for rabbits.
I've got some friends that think they have three donkeys. Donkeys apparently are supposed to keep coyotes away.
Yeah, they're supposed to beat the shit out of them,
Yeah, so
which
that's
is
pretty interesting because they're just so goofy.
yeah. Dude, I saw a video of this donkey and like every time I see a video online of a donkey, I'm like, I just want a donkey because but it was like this person had goats and a donkey, and the fucking donkey just had the goat in its mouth, and he's running around with it, and the goat's like, ah, ah, and the owner's like, Bosco, put him down, and he puts it down, then the goat just runs away, and the donkey's like, like just laughing at him.
That is so funny, dude.
It's
My
like,
my friends' donkeys are just like big dogs. Like they
yeah,
just love pets and attention. It's kind of hilarious.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
Did I tell you the story about the dog that won the award for like Farm Dog of the Year?
I
His
don't
name was
think so.
Casper. Oh,
Mm-mm.
this will be a fun story. So this is I think last year. This dog, like it was a sheepdog, I think, or maybe a chicken dog, but it was to protect the farm. These coyotes, 11 of them show up, and he's gone. Like the next day, he's gone. They find like at for 3 days, they end up finding dead bodies of coyotes though. And they find eight of the 11 coyotes dead. And then Casper comes home.
Holy shit.
He was a great Pyrenees. He just fucking killed all of them and he just comes back. I saw a meme of it and it was like they superimposed a coyote's head on this person's body and they superimposed Casper's head on this other one. It's like, you're really willing to die for a bunch of chickens? He's like, I'm not going to die.
That's It's a Game of Thrones quote.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I was like, that's too funny.
Yeah. You want to die for a couple of chickens? One of us will.
Yeah,
It's a
that's what it
scary
was,
quote.
and it
Yeah.
was so funny.
Yeah. I like a dog that has a job
Yeah,
because they just love doing it. And it's
yeah.
cool to see them do the job.
It's so funny because Hallie, when she goes to the farm, I'm not gonna say she's good at it, but she'll chase mice and squirrels and any other type of varmints that she can. But she also has terrible fucking eyesight. So I'm like, Hallie, over there. And she'll like, who?
Just some Scooby-Doo shit.
Yeah, she'll be like, I'll be like, look over there. And then she'll be like, and she'll run off in the opposite direction trying to find what I'm like, do you not understand how pointing works, bud?
Look, she does her best.
I know, she tries.
Uh,
We had a grain bin that the top door kind of came ajar today, so I had to climb up and shut it. And then I was like, I want to just check it and make sure that everything's okay. And I opened it up. A couple of raccoons got in there, and they're still in there, and
oh.
they're not doing good.
A hard lesson learned.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go in there with a bucket. I'm not looking forward to it.
Oh, icky. Hmm. Well, I don't have any news. Casey's got a couple of
Yeah.
things. So
Well,
Casey, have at it.
you wrote down red
Oh,
one?
yeah. Okay. So I was watching a bit of, oh, the Monday Night Football game. We didn't
Ooh,
even
we can
talk
talk
about
about
it.
that.
So, real quick, yeah, make your prediction. We got the Kansas City Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Ooh, I'm going with the Buccaneers, even though I know. I mean, okay, let's be honest. Chiefs are gonna win.
Yep,
Patrick Mahomes is gonna get 3 touchdowns, and then there's gonna be a kick, and they're gonna win. But I'm rooting for the Buccaneers because they're Pirates.
true. And I'm rooting for anyone that's not the Chiefs. And
Fair
also,
enough.
I like Baker Mayfield. So, there you go.
Yeah.
But anyway, there was a commercial for this movie called Red One. Have you seen the trailer for it?
No.
I thought this shit looked insane. It's got J.K. Simmons as Santa Claus,
Oh, I have seen that. Yeah. That
and
was
then The Rock is
before.
in it, and Chris Evans is in it, and someone else is in it that I can't remember right now. But it's just like from the director of Jumanji, and then it's The Rock like fighting the Krampus, and there's like some big old snowmen in it, and boy, it looked dumb as hell.
So like it's also my least favorite Christmas movie trope because it makes no sense when you think about it, which it's like it's a fucking kids movie, so it doesn't really have to, but it's something that even when I saw Elf for the first time, I'm like, this makes no fucking sense. It's the fact that it's like they live in this world because like Chris Evans is like Santa Claus, he doesn't exist, but they live in a world where Santa does actually exist. So who do they think is giving them the like breaking into their house and
Hmm.
giving them presents?
Are the parents just taking credit for it? And
But
Santa's
then
like,
like
what the fuck?
but then the adults are also like, oh yeah, who's coming into my house and
Hmm.
giving my kid exactly what they asked for when I couldn't afford it?
Yeah. No, I get it. That is very silly.
Because it's like Elf did that, and then there's that Kurt Russell movie where he's Santa and it does that, and then this one does that. I'm like, guys, you got to come up with something smarter than this because I'm not
Same with
buying it.
one of my favorite movies, The Santa Claus with Tim Allen.
Oh,
That's the same way too.
oh, I didn't know people didn't. Oh yeah, because Tim Allen didn't believe that it was Santa Claus.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're right.
And Judge Reinhold, who's the stepdad, is like, Charlie, you have to stop believing in Santa. So
Yeah, that's so
anyway,
that shit. Like yeah, that's. Let us know down below. Am I being too harsh on a children's Christmas movie? So, is that gonna be the next movie we watch for the podcast?
yes, if this video gets 5 likes, we will go watch Red One.
Nice. And we'll watch it with all five of you.
Yep. I'll even buy your movie tickets.
Ooh. All right. So, we talked about this a while back. Remember the legendary Gundam movie that was going to be coming on Netflix that we talked about? I think Brian K. Vaughan was like co-writing the script or
Hmm.
wrote the script. Well, it was going to have Jordan Vogt Roberts, who did Kong Skull Island. He was going to be directing, but he's been kicked off of it, and it's not going to be on Netflix anymore. It's going straight to theaters. And Jim Mickle is going to direct it, which I don't know what else he's directed. I should have looked this up before, but it's that's a big disappointment for me because I really like Jordan Vogt Roberts. He directed. So he was I think the showrunner, it looks like, for Sweet Tooth,
Oh, okay.
which was like that show really suffered from taking like 3 years off between the seasons. Like it was so hard to get back into it. I think if he did any, no, that's about the only real thing that I've seen that he did. So yeah, I mean,
So here's the thing about that movie. Whenever I inevitably see it, whether it's in theaters or streaming later, I can see that being one of those movies where I watch it and I think that was pretty neat. But real diehard Gundam fans are going to be like, that was dog shit.
yeah, I have a feeling it's gonna be like that too. I think you and me as non-hardcore Gundam fans will both be like, oh yeah, this was pretty good, and then or we'll both be like, because I don't know, there's something about when Americans try to do something, like try to make a statement with their art, which it's like you kind of have to with Gundam about war. They come off way too handed, and they don't do as good of a job, which is,
Yeah,
I could very, very much see that happening where it just doesn't work. But
yeah.
who knows?
I'd
Uh,
rather just a live action 8th MS team, a perfect adaptation.
that would be pretty fun. You just want the one girl.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, and then the big news. This is the thing I'm pretty excited about. We're getting a new Godzilla movie. It's been greenlit. It's gonna be by Takashi Yamazaki. He's writing, directing, and doing the VFX again. He is the same director of Godzilla Minus One.
Hell
So
yeah.
don't know if it's gonna be a direct sequel to that or if he's just doing his own random story, but should be really cool. I'm very excited.
Me too. He absolutely deserved another one if he wanted to do it.
Yeah. That was the whole thing. It's like I knew he loved it, but at the same time I'm like I wouldn't have been surprised if he's like I want to go out on top.
Hmm.
So,
It's going to be extremely challenging to top -1.
yeah. So let us know down below, guys, about, Red One, like I said, Red One, Godzilla Minus Two, or whatever else you can call it, and the Gundam movie. Are you excited for this new director? So,
All right.
what'd you read this week, man?
I read Phases of the Moon Knight #3, Thundercats #9, Sonic the Hedgehog 74, Poison Ivy and Swamp Thing Feral Trees, and Batman The Last Halloween #2.
No Wolverine?
I missed that.
Oh, okay. It was a really big week. Uh, okay, so
Damn, that's disappointing.
so
Which
I read
one, regular or revenge?
Revenge.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm less disappointed then.
Yeah, you should be. Um, I read Power Rangers Across the Morphin Grid, issue 1, Wolverine Revenge, issue 3, Poison Ivy, Swamp Thing, Feral Trees, #1, and I don't have it with me, but the I read the Batman Long Halloween, that one, and that's
Okay.
it.
I will start us off with Phases of the Moon Knight #3. It's 3 stories. The first one is by Yuji Kaku, who did the story and art. Second one's by Justina Ireland and Daniel Bayliss. And the third one is by Chris Giarrusso. I did not care for this issue even a little bit. The first story is just this weird fucking what she call herself? Moon Knight Chan. Exactly what you think it is. It's
Nice.
just a weird fucking this crazy weeb has personality disorder and they just kill a bunch of people and argue with themselves and I don't know what the fuck happens in it. This is clearly there's just some sort of disconnect from me in this story. It was not made for me. I don't know who it was made for. Second story, I don't know. It's okay, I guess. Moon Knight is like the ghost of Mark Spector is talking to this chick who is Hunter's Moon in this book, and whatever. And then the third one is just a silly Chris Giarrusso poking fun at Moon Knight. And that was probably the best one, even though it was like an all ages silly story. But man, the rest of it totally sucked. So I'm gonna give it let's see, it's issue number 3. I'll give it a 3 out of 10.
Damn. You gonna keep trying that book, or are you just gonna kind of like
Probably not.
I didn't know if you'd just flip through it at the shop and be like, well, this one actually has something going that I'm interested in, or
Maybe. I mean, the first one, Moon Knight of the Crusades. Yeah, I'm gonna read it. This
yeah,
shit, no.
yeah. No, I get that. All right, so I'll talk about Power Rangers Across the Morphin Grid, issue one. This is one of those books where it's like a bunch of different people writing, a bunch of different stuff, very much like the one you just did. Uh,
Hooray!
so the first book is called Billy's Metamorphosis. It's written by David Yost, the Blue Ranger.
Really?
Yeah, and illustrated by Patrick Mulholland.
I
Art's
thought you were gonna
really
say Mahomes. I was like, what?
Patrick Mahomes and David Yost, weird best friends. But yeah, so it's old Billy going through stuff and shooting stuff, and art's
What,
pretty
being a
good.
big fucking nerd?
No, he's being a cool guy in this one.
Oh,
He's
okay.
remembering his
Cool guy
buddies.
Billy.
Yeah, it's just a short thing. It kind of like it's just like he sees this thing that's telling him to do stuff, and then he jumps in the thing, and he's like, "Oh, you're fine." It's like, "Oh, okay." That was very lucky, I guess. It was just kind of like they gave David, a few pages and he had to do what he had to do with it, but it just didn't feel like there was much going on.
Hmm.
And then we got Tanya's Heavy Metal Rescue, written by Nakia Bur Burrise and JD Sutpian, and art by Tango. Dig the art in this a good bit. You can kind of see it. It
Yeah.
gives me like a little bit of Darwin vibes, but it's still their own thing. And I like it. The story itself is kind of so-so. That's kind of how this whole book's been. It is. It's like, yeah, the art's pretty good. The stories are all pretty so-so. And then we get In the Red by Matt Groom and Steve Cardenas and Anand Ramcharan on the art. You get a bad guy named Bulldog that's fighting a Power Ranger that's um basically she took the Red Ranger's medallion when he was asleep and was like, I'm a Ranger now. And then he's like, you idiot sister of mine, I love you, but boy, that was stupid. She's like, you're right. It's like, but I still love you. I still love you too. And then his friends came in and saved the day. And then we get An Apple a Day by Walter Jones with Dominique Domo Stanton on the art. And yeah, it's just another story. We get a cool pumpkin guy that's fighting.
Very
Power,
spooky.
Power Ranger bad guys are the most fun because the Sentai characters are just fucking weird fever dreams. And and then the last story, it's Chloe's Chaos Kitchen by Megan Kimura and Paulina Ganucci, and this was not my cup of tea type of story. It's like a cooking thing and then all that stuff. But we do get to see my favorite pumpkin guy again in this one, so that's cool. Um, So yeah, it's fine. It's nothing that I'm gonna be like, oh, dude, you need to be reading this. I'm more kind of like left. Do you remember in that episode of Community when they had that teacher that was like he was the science teacher and he's like he just got out of prison. He's like,
Hmm.
what happened to Legos? Like I'm not complaining about it, but like they were so simple. And then I get out, and that's how I feel with the Power Rangers. Like what the heck happened to Power Rangers? I'm not complaining. Like I think this is interesting, but that's not what I remember.
I get it.
Yeah, so
I
I'm
wouldn't I
probably
wouldn't know where to begin if I
yeah,
jumped
I
into
mean
Power Rangers.
yeah, this is like I'm gonna go 6.5. It's fine. It's probably better if you've been following the different stuff, but I just want to bring the note too. Your favorite writer is going to be writing a Firefly comic that's the story of Malcolm Reynolds. Sam Humphries is
Oh
writing the
yeah.
backstory
Is
for
that the Malcolm year one or whatever?
yeah.
Yeah.
You get that one with all the variants or no?
No, probably not that one.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how that guy gets work. I really don't.
I mean, I think he was on Comic Vine one time. He seems very nice.
Good for him.
Easy to work. It's probably because I've heard I think Nick was telling me about this Peter David's book on how to write comics. He talks about he's like just meet your deadlines and be easy to work with. You'll get consistent work.
Yeah, well, he is doing that. All right. Thundercats and number 9 by Declan Shalvey and Drew Moss. Uh, Fun book. All the Thundercats are fighting the Monkeans. Casey, I need you to say the line, please. Thank you. Um, Lion-O has to use a different sword because the Sword of Omens is all busted up still. And unfortunately, some not great stuff happens to they were building
Oh
their
shoot.
Thundercats lair, and then
Yeah.
before it gets finished, it gets all destroyed uh by all these baddies. So anyway, this was a
Like
pretty
Megan the
action-packed
Stallion
issue.
fans?
Huh?
Because you said the baddies, and I was like the Megan the Stallion
Is
fans?
that what they call themselves?
I think that's what she calls them.
Oh, oh, they might be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fine. Probably give it a 7.5.
Right on. So, speaking of Megan the Stallion, really quick, did you see her Halloween costume this year? Because
I did not.
this is comic book related. Or you think I'm just a dirty old pervert? She was Starfire, and it was Marv Wolfman, George Perez Starfire. Big
Okay,
hair. It's like when you have tons of money and you're super hot, you can kind of pull off anything, and she kills it.
trying to let's see, Starfire.
Oh, do you think the Thundercats would ever make a big dome that they could, train in or something? They could call it the Thunderdome.
The Thunderdome. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Put it up on the big screen for the fans so they can see it and be like, "Oh yeah, Casey is a pervert."
Uh, Come
Yeah, they
on. Where
move
is it
stuff
now?
around. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Is it share?
Yeah. There you go.
Hell yeah.
Thanks for doing the reaction. Um, yeah. I mean, it's definitely accurate. Oops.
Mhm.
Stop share.
It's a little bit more accurate than the television one we got.
Yeah, but you can't talk bad about that, or
Yeah.
you're a bad guy. Um, let's see here. Sonic the Hedgehog 74. It's by Evan Stanley, and Aaron Hammerstrom on the art. Uh, this issue, everyone finds out that Clutch the Possum is indeed not the nice guy that he's been pretending to be. So, all the good guys are fighting all of his guys. Um, Meanwhile, everyone finds out that this is also happening during that like Sonic Riders race. I don't know if you remember me
Oh
talking
yeah.
about that a few issues back. Everyone has found out that Sonic was that mystery rider that was up to no good. Um, but anyway, Clutch the Possum decides that he is going to self-destruct this entire stadium, and Sonic is like, "Okay, if you good guys want to deal with me, that's fine. I'll let you do it. But after we save all these people from the exploding stadium." I'm like, "Okay, fine." And they zoom off, and that'll be a to be continued thing. But yeah, it's good. I think it was definitely one of the better things I read this week. I'm at it like an 8 for it, I think.
Oh, pick of the week.
No.
All right. So Wolverine Revenge, issue 3 by Hickman and Capulio.
Boy.
So yeah, it's Wolverine fights Omega Red in this. I'm not a fan of the way Capullo draws Omega Red. He just looks a little bit too cute.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think Omega Red needs to be ugly as shit. That's just my opinion.
I love Greg, but pretty much all of his faces look the same.
Yeah. And then you get some Deadpool and Wolverine talking, and still Hickman doesn't know how to write Deadpool at all. And then you get the Colossus Wolverine fight. And I'm not like I said, I'm not gonna spoil stuff because I don't want to spoil it for you. But it was pretty neat. Yeah, I mean it's kind of a letdown because like I was wanting this to be better than it was, but it is what it is. I'm gonna go 7.5. And this is actually what it looks like when me and my buddy Clint hang out. Very similar to how we hug. He's a little guy.
That's hilarious.
Oh,
Okay.
really quick, I just remembered something because when we were talking about monkeys, James Gunn must have heard me on this podcast when I mentioned how they need to add more monkeys to the movies because in the um Creature Commandos, Kongorilla, they have a clip where he's in it in the prison with them. So is the duck that was in the zoo crew. But yeah, so we're getting some Kongorilla action.
You're about to change your tune on the Gunverse.
Not really, because it's like, why the hell is he in prison? Because that's where they're, and also, why is the duck in prison too? He's from a different universe.
For the
How did he get there?
funnies, man. For the
Yeah,
lulls.
but I want it. I don't want them there. It doesn't make sense.
All right. So we down to our two Muchis.
Yeah.
All right. We'll do Swamp Thing first.
All right. I'll take Swamp Thing because, like I said, I don't have Long Halloween.
Ah, yes, that makes sense.
So Poison Ivy, Swamp Thing, Feral Trees. This is by G. Willow Wilson and Mike Perkins on the art. This is I think my first time reading G. Willow Wilson, but I liked the art. The writing was okay, but this book kind of drug for me. What do you think?
See, I liked it. This was my favorite book this week.
Oh, okay.
I thought the art was cool and
Yeah,
fitting. Um, and I like how G. Willow Wilson wrote Poison Ivy. I thought she did a great job. It makes me want to check out the trades on her current series.
yeah, I love this guy. He was
Yeah,
my favorite.
The Hill.
But
I thought all the
my
other guys were pretty neat too.
oh
The
yeah, no
other
they
like swamp people.
yeah, I like them all, but the Hill one was my favorite. He's so funny. But no, like I don't know. I'm kind of like torn with Poison Ivy. I liked it when she was just a villain. The whole like the way that they try to make her a good guy here recently. I'm just like, do we really need her to be a good guy?
See, I don't think she is though, like in her solo series.
It
I
really
think she
just
very much tries to like kill off all the humans and stuff like
Really.
that. Um, but no, I really, really like the Ivy's like, I'm not half and half. I'm all in on the green and Swamp Thing's like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
You love the humans. I really liked that dynamic. Not
Yeah.
between them and just in for Ivy as well. I just thought it was really interesting. I also like how in the end, this is spoilers, they didn't save the girl. It wasn't a
Yeah.
happy ending, which I kind of appreciate because that doesn't really happen that often. And I don't know, this time of year, if you're like me, you're listening to more Midwest emo, you're kind of in a bummer mood now and then. A good sad story like this just kind of hit the spot. So I
Yeah.
was a
I
big
mean,
fan.
I liked it, but I just thought there was a lot of fat that they could have trimmed. Like I said, it just kind of drug, but it was still good. And like I said, I'm not a Poison Ivy guy, but I would read a G. Willow Wilson Swamp Thing series
Hmm.
personally. But yeah, where are you at with it, man?
I think I'm gonna give it a 9.
I'm feeling an 8, so pretty close.
Yeah. All right, and then we end on Batman: The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, #2 by Jeff Loeb and Klaus Janson. Um, yeah, a lot going on in this one, man. We
Yeah.
got you know, Grundy wrapped in chains and cinder blocks being thrown overboard. Um, Robin goes in and confronts Calendar Man. Catwoman's getting shot. They don't know if she did it to herself or whatever. I don't know. There's just like everybody gets some screen time in this book, I think.
Yeah.
There's a lot with the Penguin too.
Yeah,
What'd you think?
okay, so first off, I'm gonna say I'm not a fan of the art really in this. Not that it's bad, but the last issue, it seemed like I'm blank on who the artist was, but it seemed like he was trying
Eduardo
really,
Risso.
yeah, it seemed like he was trying really hard to emulate uh Tim Sale.
Yeah.
And then in this one, it's just like this guy's like, I'm just doing my own thing.
Hmm.
And that was the kind of a letdown. I think it would have been fine in a normal book, but in this, like I said, it was a letdown that way. And then I don't like, and this is just a personal thing, I don't like the Jeff Loeb's interpretation of the Penguin. I liked all the other ways he did everyone else, but it's like this is like too much Danny DeVito. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
No, it
So,
totally is. I don't like how he's drawn. Why does he
yeah.
have these weird ass teeth?
But I mean, that's even written in there. Batman even says he's like, with his razor sharp teeth, it's easy to be picked on. Like, first off, if someone had razor sharp teeth in our school, we would not pick on him because we'd be afraid that the freak with the razor sharp teeth that eats raw fish would try to eat us.
Yep. And also, what that tongue do? A whole fish is going in and that's coming out.
Yeah,
Penguin's got crazy throat game. That's all I'm saying.
maybe I wouldn't have picked on him. Maybe I just would have hung out with him.
We have fun.
But yeah, so I mean, it was like this isn't as good as the first issue, but it does have a lot of questions going on, and I'm interested in seeing where it goes still. It was, it was good. Like I said, the art was a letdown for me, but I think he writes everyone else really well.
Yeah, didn't love the art. Thought the story was neat. You know, we don't know who's behind everything. Everybody keeps trying to set up everybody and people are getting shot. It's still a very good crime book and I enjoy it. So probably probably an 8, I think. I don't want to be too harsh on the art.
We're kind of flip-flop from like the last two books. 'Cause I'm at a 9, and this would be my pick of the week too. I
Okay.
really, like I said, I really liked it. It's just, and I think that art would be fine. Like it gives me like 90s Batman and 90, like that era of stuff
Hmm.
vibes. It's just like, boy, this does not work with this story.
Yeah, for sure.
But what are you excited about, man?
Um, so Batgirl, the new
Hmm.
Cassandra Cain series, very excited for that one. Um, JSA #1, cannot wait for that. That's Jeff Lemire's book. And then, oh boy, there's a lot that it could be, man. I mean, there's
Hmm.
some good stuff out this week. I'm gonna go with probably Plastic Man, if I'm
Okay.
honest.
So I'm gonna go Saga, Absolute Superman, and trying to think of because like there is so many books out this week. It's like this week, this last week we had nothing, and this week it's like, oh yeah, every book you want to read is out.
Yeah, and the week before was like that too.
Yeah. So I'll say public domain.
Yeah. Gosh,
Oh,
there's so much good shit coming out.
yeah. All right, man. So I don't know if you've looked at the Fantastic Four already.
hmm
Okay, you had. So Fantastic Four time. Presidential elections coming up. I was just thinking, tell me about some of your favorite presidential cameos in comics.
Sure thing. Um, I mean, most of these are in old books, so I'm not going to
Yeah.
pretend like I've read all of these. It's
Yeah.
just I think the idea is pretty neat. Um, so Ronald Reagan in The Dark Knight, I don't know if you remember that, but
Hmm.
he's shown in that, and I don't know, I think Frank Miller. Well, I mean, it's very satire, but still, I think that's one that I actually did read. And while I'm not a big fan of that book, I can still appreciate certain things about it. Um, let's see. Let's go with, I think the one of the most famous ones in recent memory has got to be Obama on the Spider-Man book. I
Yeah.
mean, everybody has seen that cover. And a lot of people thought that was gonna be like Death of Superman because that's how many fucking copies were bought. And I've heard stories from customers from when Steve owned Comic Headquarters, just people were lined up out the door to get their copy of that book. Um, so as you can imagine, the value is not great on them.
Yeah.
And then there's a what if. It was let's what if #4, and there's a team called the All Winners, and that's Cap, um, Namor, Golden Age, Human Torch, the Wizard, and what was the gal? She had a cool patriotic symbol on her chest too. I'm blanking on her name, but their team name was called the All Winners, and they save JFK in that book. And then the #1 has got to be FDR founding the Justice Society.
Yeah. That
I
one
just
was
think
on
that's
my
pretty cool.
that one was on my list because I read that one too. I'm like, that is really neat. So Steve Englehart, he did this one where it was like supposed to be going at the same like around the same time as the Watergate scandal was going on. And so he had this like evil villain that was clearly gonna be Nixon, but he was like, I can't say it, but it's Nixon, which I'm like, that's funny. So that one's gonna be there. And then the FDR JSA one. And the Obama one was on my list too. Then my last one though, this one's so funny. I don't know if you've ever read Marvel's The End, where Thanos gets the heart of the universe.
Like that '90s series
No, this would have
or
been
early 2000s, maybe.
yeah, early mid 2000s
Okay,
where like
I've
he gets
not read
heart.
it.
All right, so there's a part because like before Thanos gets the power, the like this pharaoh has the power and he's like doing this stuff and then there's a briefing with the president, and it's W, and he's like, they always make these pretzel bags so hard to open, and he's like trying to open up the pretzel bags, and then he gets teleported away, and then the pretzels land on the ground, you know. I'm like, it's really funny.
That is really funny. Cool.
But, but yeah, guys, get out and vote. Vote for me and Jake for president.
Don't know
Because
what you'll get, but it'll be something.
yeah, you know what you're gonna get? You're gonna get because we're gonna be drawing the line at 2.99.
Fuck yes. And we're gonna stand by it too.
Hell yeah. Until DC and Marvel starts giving us cutbacks, and then prices are gonna go up to $6 probably.
So what we're saying is nothing is gonna change.
Yeah, but we're gonna do a big talk about it. But
All
hey guys,
right.
let us know your favorite presidential cameos and let us know who you're voting for and let us just let us just know, what your favorite topping on pizza is.
Yeah,
Should be
let's hear it.
pepperoni.
Should be. I'm a big pepperoni mushroom fan personally.
I'm not I'm such a fucking baby when it comes to mushrooms because I want to like them because they're super fucking good for you, but I hate them. Like I cut
Taste
them
or
up.
texture?
I don't know because there's not much taste. But I'll chop them up really tiny and I'll put them like in eggs or anything. And like as soon as my mouth is like there's a mushroom in here, like I'm like trying not to throw up. I'm like, why am I such a baby about this? I don't get it.
You're like a dog that finds the pill in the
Yeah,
cheese.
exactly. Like the worst part is too because it's like I'm like I know I have like all this nice stuff on it. I'm like dry heaving because I have a mushroom. I'm like, just let me eat it, body. Come on.
No way, dude. Pile that shit on there with pepperonis and I'll tear the whole thing up live. All right,
So
folks.
if this gets 10 comments, Jake will eat a whole pizza, pepperoni and mushrooms
Fuck
live.
yeah. Please. I welcome this challenge. Can it be a thing where like I eat it throughout the whole episode?
No, you have to like before we start the camera and you have to eat the whole thing. I just have to sit and watch.
All right, I'll have the trash can on standby too. All right, folks. Well, we'd love to stay and chat, but we have to go find a dead girl in the woods. So we'll catch you next week. See ya.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Two Worlds Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at Two Worlds Pod, on Twitter at two_worlds_PC, and on Facebook at facebook.com/twoworldspodcast. You can email us with any questions or comments at twoworldspodcast@gmail.com, and if you would, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Two Worlds Podcast on YouTube.